All right, I've hit go live on YouTube.
Okay. You see it now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we could talk about FPS. We could talk about
Yeah,
um,
true.
character customizer. There's plenty of like side things. The main
Yeah,
topics will definitely be 1.0 and the Hornet, of course,
and the
though.
event. Yep.
Yep. All right. Let me know when we are live on YouTube.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
All right. Perfect. I'll let it count down and then we'll intro in.
Sweet.
I don't know who has it this week, but I'll just take it just because
Yeah, you go
I'm
for it.
ready
All
for
good.
it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. Maybe our last episode ever, because me and Croncy are going to be disappointed or disagreeing
Well, we
on
are going
a
to be
little something.
disappointed.
Yeah, well, the viewers will be disappointed, but we're going to be disagreeing, or they're going to be really excited because we're going to be disagreeing pretty hard on something, apparently. But before
Yep.
we get started, the one thing that I really wanted to make a big thing that we share at the very beginning of the show, you guys have been really enjoying it. Lots of people are watching the show. Significantly more than are actually subscribed to the channel. I know you guys hear that stuff on a lot of YouTube channels. It's the only channel that I have that's the case. So yeah, it's probably because we're not doing too many. Like 2 hours into the show is when we're telling you, hey, subscribe. It's a new YouTube channel. It's not the same one you've always been watching. So get subscribed and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel if you guys haven't been yet. If you don't know what Answer the Call is, it is a show that I created a while ago that was always meant to be like one topic, and you guys from the community can call in. It's kind of morphed into what we are today with bringing Croncy on as a co-host and us talking a little bit more on the goings on this week and still keeping that call-in show vibe a bit more like a sports radio show or something like that. That was always what I wanted to do. I just now have a co-host that makes it a lot easier to do the show more regularly. So if you are interested, you enjoy the show, we do them live Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and we do them on twitch.tv/SaltEMike. And if you ever want to call in, it would be discord.gg/SaltEMike. You were going to say something, Croncy? You pointed, but I don't know if it was like to
No, I
say,
was
I have
pointing at the
something to
viewers
add.
to
Gotcha.
subscribe, or I'm going to get mad.
Yeah. So it was a absolutely wild week of
Yep.
expected things with the Overdrive event, like coming online, but unexpected
Yep.
things with the letter from the chairman. Kind of came out of nowhere in a lot of ways, and in not a lot of ways didn't come out of nowhere. We're coming towards the end of the fiscal year, so it's time to build confidence in our player base, I think is sort of the point of it. What do you think of it? I did a video on it. You did a video on it.
I
I
didn't.
watched. Wait,
I
you didn't?
deliberately didn't do a video on the letter from the chairman.
Wait, you
no.
didn't? I watched your jump point video. I think that's what I was watching the other day.
Yeah. Yeah, the letter
We'll
from
get
chairman.
into that too as well, by the way, because we
yeah.
didn't talk about it all last week.
So I think the last one was like 18 months ago or something, or it was like the start of last year. It was a while ago.
December
and they were talking about like
2022.
server meshing and stuff.
December 2022 was the one that was more of the format of this, and then there was another one after 318 was a complete disaster to be like,
right,
my bad.
Yeah.
Like that one was different, a very different tone than what this one is.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the biggest thing about this is this was not a letter from the chairman for me, but none of them have ever really been for me, and I'll sort of explain what I mean.
I see what you mean by for me. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so the first letter from the chairman that I saw was when they did the first one in like 6 years or whatever, in like 2022, 2021, whatever it was. And a lot of old backers that I'd become friends with were very much like, I am really happy that Chris is talking again about all this sort of stuff. But I feel like if you're a more recent backer, you barely even know who Chris is. At least that's where my sight for this game always is it really has nothing to do with Chris or really his vision. It more comes from what all the devs are doing and what they're always showing every week, right?
Yeah, I mean the
So
letter
yeah,
every week there's a letter from Jared that's significantly more
yeah,
valuable to the following player base than something like this, right? And
exactly,
I
yeah,
think you're kind of right. Like, I what if a lot of people don't even know who Chris Roberts is? Like, that's a possibility,
yeah,
right? Like, I remember Burks played Star Citizen for a year before he ever knew Squadron 42 existed. So I think it's
yeah,
like completely logical that you may not know who Chris Roberts is, right?
yeah.
At least Squadron
Um,
42 was on the store at the time. Like he could have seen it, right? Chris is non-existent unless you
yeah,
watch like CitizenCon stuff.
yeah, exactly. And that's not necessarily even a way to be like, I don't necessarily care. Well, I mean, I kind of don't really care about the CEO of a company like this, but it's more just that, yeah, because Chris is not the face of the game, it's not as relevant. Um, that being said, there were a couple of things in this chairman letter that I think is good info, but also just apparently became clickbait for every gaming news organization that exists.
So let me
Um,
scroll down to that. I'm
yeah,
assuming we're talking about 1.0.
yeah.
Okay.
So it 100% makes sense for them to say we are doing a roadmap for what 1.0 looks like, because for the last 7 years, their roadmap to what does the game look like was what's 4.0 look like. And where are we going when we get to that? Well,
Yes.
cool. We're about to approach that. So what's the step after? It makes sense for them to literally do an internal,
Hmm.
what does this look like? And that was the extent of me caring. It was like, cool, that's awesome.
Ah,
I don't need
interesting.
more information than that, and that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I that is not where I stop caring, and there's no agree or
Okay.
disagree
Yeah, no,
situations
no.
here. That is not where I stopped caring. Um, I think it's always healthy for them to say, like, I think Rich has come in and been like, gameplay. Like during
Mhm.
CitizenCon, he hammered that home. I called him out if he ever is in the channel, and he may never come because I am definitely going to put him on the spot with something that we're going to talk about later. Uh,
Mhm.
and there's no way I will not ask this question because yeah, we'll talk about that later. But very focused on what it's going to take to make the game, right? And that's their
Yep.
roadmap. But then they also discussed somewhere, I think down here, about
Mhm.
the actual progress tracker roadmap. That's why we haven't updated you. Something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah.
We would like to update you, and what they want to update us on is this 1.0 thing, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. And I think it, like, yes, this is also where I stopped caring on the 1.0 side of things, like you, Croncy. But then
Mhm.
like I did start to think a little bit more about what, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I know a lot of people disagreed with this, especially while it was happening. I think that they likely would disagree less nowadays, based on how well it has been received. But the idea of going away from this 1 year out roadmap to
Yep.
the 1 quarter or the next patch roadmap that they've been doing with the cards, I think has been extremely successful and one of the best decisions that they've made in the entire breadth of the game's development. And then they
Mhm.
come out and say, like, let me ask you this question, and then for the people who are calling as well, how long do you think it's going to be until we get to 1.0? Do you think it happens within the year 2024?
No shot.
Of course not.
This is minimum,
2 years.
absolute minimum. Like I reckon 4 years. I
Yeah,
reckon
but
minimum
yeah,
4 years.
like
But yeah,
minimum two
it's a
years
while
because
out.
the joke is always it's 2 years away, but it's
Yeah,
probably further than that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
we're making a roadmap for not something that's 1 year away, which we argued was a mistake. We're making a roadmap for something that is multiple years away. So unless they're making a roadmap that is significantly different, that we get to watch them check box off each individual feature over time, and like in an orderly fashion of some way, that we get to actually watch Star Citizen's progress be made before our eyes.
Mm.
How could this roadmap possibly be successful?
I
Right?
think I think this is an issue possibly with what they've used for their wording here. When
Yes.
they say roadmap, I do not think
I did it
our
again.
roadmap. Classic Mike.
Every week.
Uh, I do not think the roadmap that we have at all. Roadmap is just a normal interchangeable word that companies use all the time for, well, like literally, what are we doing?
Yes,
I think what they
and
are
they
actually
spoke about their
describing.
internal one, but then they
Yeah,
also said that they were going to update us with an external one. So, like,
yeah.
what do you think that looks like?
So my interpretation of that is at CitizenCon this year, we're going to get a presentation, probably helmed by Chris, that says this is what we want the game to be like in 1.0, and I think that's literally all they're describing, and it's not going to be anything more detailed than that.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so that is like such a nothing burger, like you mentioned, because I give me literally 2 seconds here. I'm going to do my best to find this. CitizenCon 2018. Does anybody remember this keynote?
I started in 2019. I don't remember anything before that.
Okay. This is going to be really funny for you then. Did you ever look back at the...
I've looked at like 2016 stuff, which is always funny, but I didn't look at 2018 or...
Damn. Okay, so I have the second part of the keynote. There's 2 keynotes. Road to Release was the name of this keynote, my friend. And that is exactly what you expect to see at CitizenCon this year, is this fucking goofball to go on camera and do the same thing he did in 2018. I love Chris. He's a goofball, all right? And I mean that like as a term of endearment. He's like, cheesing, he's laughing, he's having a good time. He's a goofball. Road to Release. What is release, Croncy? They didn't know because they're still figuring it out now. They don't know.
I mean, of course they are, though. Of course they are. Like the game has changed so much even since then that of course a release looks completely different now. In fact, I would imagine there was probably a lot of belief within the company back then. Actually, was server meshing even a concept back then?
Yes. So that holds. The game is exactly the same as it was. This was him laying out the roadmap that is leading to, and you are correct, that I believe this roadmap ended at 4.0. Okay, just like how you've been saying, like most of the roadmaps have been up to that point. Yeah. And this was kind of the roadmap that they were going on. We were in 3.3 at this time, ship purchasing, rental, and they have largely done all of these things up to this point, outside of the organization system coming before full persistence. This is the only one that they haven't really stuck to. And let's go to the most replayed, which is likely showing meshing. Yep, there it is. Okay, so like. Cool. The next step was meshing there, and that's where we are on this roadmap. And I think that is where his roadmap here ends. But I believe at this time, he believed that the game released with meshing. Many systems, right? They had a total misunderstanding of what this was going to either blow up into or what they were capable of making. By the way, can you hear the vacuum or no?
No, I can't hear it.
Cool. I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can. This mic is really good for some reason with that stuff. And yeah. Anyway, this is what you're expecting to get, but just a little bit more than a little bit further down the line, probably about the same amount of time it's been to get to this point, 5 years.
Yeah. Sort of. What I expect it to be a little bit more like is more this is what we want done by 1.0 rather than what that seemed to be, which was here's step A, here's step B, here's step C, here's step D. I think it would be like the presentation would just be like, well, what does a 1.0 look like? What should the players expect from logging in on a 1.0?
Yeah, or to add to what you're saying, there'll be a lot more elements to that roadmap than this one, right? There was like 7 things on there, right? Where this one would have economy, this one would have PvP, this would have base building, this would have like all the features that are absolutely required. Like, are pets going to be a thing? Because that was a Kickstarter goal, right? Like that kind of stuff, they would have to decide whether or not it needed to or would not be a part of the release. How are they going to handle the idea of 100 systems? Like, there are things that are quote unquote promised that are actually a legitimate argument that they're promised, whereas most things aren't. A lot of those Kickstarter goals you would consider promises for a 1.0, right? So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what 1.0 means to them, and when they do share it with us, what it ends up looking like. Now, the thing that I did not stop at this letter with, and that I found to be by far the most relevant thing in the letter, was from Benoit. And I don't know if you caught this or not, because you kind of were like, screw this thing.
Well,
It
it's
seems
more
like
that I didn't get it when I say like I didn't care or I didn't really follow. It's more just that it didn't
you were
show the amount of
indifferent.
excitement to me as a lot of the community has, and like that's fine. It's just it was yeah. Like I said, it wasn't really for me.
Yeah. So you're definitely going to hear the vacuum now because it's right outside the door. This is to me the biggest and most important thing because it's
Hmm.
the most present, the thing that we're going to feel the soonest, and is I think the most impactful thing to
Hmm.
getting to 1.0 than anything, and that is that we didn't get an opportunity to talk about the jump points. So if we want to take that time now, we can for a little bit. I am an Evocati. I jumped through a jump gate from Stanton to Pyro and back multiple times. It worked surprisingly well. It was surprisingly visually janky, and there was a number of issues with it. I made a video on it. You made a video on it. A lot of people know about how all this stuff worked, but it worked. Right, I jumped from I moved technically without being able to tell. There's no data on the screen. You can't put anything on the screen as far as like the data that you're able to put in the top right to tell that you moved from one server to another. But you have to assume that we did because of the fact that there were so many players and all these things. Like it was not faked. Obviously, everything in video games is a smoke and mirrors and faked and all these other things, right? Like the moment I jumped through into the gate, I went backwards, and because I went backwards, I was able to see that the skybox changed immediately to Pyro the moment I joined the gate. I didn't actually travel to Pyro. Oh my God, Oh, I saw behind the curtain, right? But
Yeah.
but yeah, like whatever about that stuff. I went from one place to another. It was successful.
Yeah.
Why I think that is not as big. Like people are like, oh my God, this is the biggest thing that ever happened. Nah, bro, I don't think so. I think the biggest thing that ever happened is this, is that they want to, in the preview tests, go, and it's this specifically, multiple game servers per solar system. So in Stanton, you may have a game server for Crusader, and you may have a game server for Hurston, and so on, right? And what this means is that the entire Stanton system, if we're saying a game server can technically hold 400 players now, or a shard can hold 400 players, they may extend that to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 if we're putting 5-10 servers that are handling these locations, right? And then you need significantly less shards now.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, there's more of us playing together. This is the MMO. Jumping from one system to another is not the MMO. This is the MMO, right? And this is the step right before dynamic, which makes it that's the groundbreaking server meshing tech, where all this tech that exists now existed in Ultima Online when I played it in the late 90s, right? I jumped over server lines and things like that. Multiple servers were running one shard at that time.
Yeah.
But that, I think, and we're getting these tech previews soon. And that's a big deal to me. This is a huge deal. We get to see what we will see per shard, how many players they're willing to jump to. We're going to see the boundaries and how far they're going to want to push this. And then like think about the game where it is now. I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, but I really care about this and
Yeah, no, it's important.
Okay. I think what we end up seeing, if this is successful, let's say we get 1,000 players into a Stanton area. What that means is that every single mission, gameplay element, everything in this game currently is out of date and is all now placeholder. And now they finally get to go and make Star Citizen. They finally get to make a mission that makes sense for 1,000 players, right? And all these things. So, copium me all you want with that stuff. It all hinges on if it's successful. I don't know if it will be, but if it is successful, everything in the game now largely becomes irrelevant outside of resource gathering, like mining and salvage. I think then those become more relevant and maybe even contested over, right?
Yeah,
We know there.
I would maybe argue like yeah, it's I would say specifically with missions, it's not all missions because we've only really recently there are a few, but there's only recently we've been getting a few missions that definitely are MMO missions. It is big
Yes.
group
Yes.
missions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's super recent. So
Yep. Exactly. Preparing for things like this, most likely, right? But
yeah.
if you think about like bounties, you bounties often run out on a server because all of the
Hmm.
locations might be taken up.
Yeah.
Um, Same with bunkers, all sorts of things like that. So it'll be really interesting what they do and what they plan. And you
Mhm.
know, I think the mission team has been kind of stuck for a very long time with
Sure.
a framework of a video game that just isn't very fun, including the one thing I haven't mentioned now is this is not only will this add more players to a server, but the whole selling point is that the server FPS is expected to be higher as well.
Yeah.
I did not see that in our Evocati test. To be clear, I did not see
And I wouldn't
that.
have expected to either
Neither did
as
I.
well. Like with an Evo Cardi test, no shot. But yeah.
Yeah. But that was one of the selling points that they sold to us. Whether or not
Mm.
that will be true, again, I do not know. I am not going to make any claims that I do know or have any expectations on it whatsoever. I will react to it as it comes to me personally, and we'll see
Yep.
what happens there. But that is the hope, right? So the hope is that all of these missions from the mission team where the AI don't work, we'll finally get to see them work, and they get to actually make AI that are balanced in a way that makes sense for the mission you're taking.
Hmm. Yep.
Hopefully, but that's probably way further down the line in terms of
Yeah.
just adding more players to a server and seeing how we interact with each other. Imagine a jump town in a situation like this. Holy fucking
Well,
chaos, right?
we'll see. You're imagining a jump town with US servers. I'm imagining a jump town with Oz servers, which would be terrible because that would be if will have the capacity of like 800 people and there'll be 60 in there. So
It'll be like Evo.
yeah,
They never
exactly.
actually hit the cap. Yeah, that was the other thing.
um,
They had a cap of
yeah,
400, but never hit it. It was
yeah.
350, but they still hit 350 and
That's
things ran
still
pretty
yeah, yeah,
smooth.
yeah, exactly. So it's all of that stuff is really exciting. I'm really hoping that the PTUs pop up soon
Yeah.
for both that stuff and 323,
Yep.
which I imagine will be soon, because the other
Potentially
major
one today,
topic,
apparently. A 323
potentially,
Evo. Yeah.
the other major topic sort of has to do with that a little bit, which is the event and
Yes.
everything surrounding that, the Overdrive Initiative, um,
Hmm.
which let's keep the good stuff going for a little bit before we get into the argue. Um, so the Overdrive Initiative, if you're not aware, is essentially it's like a pre-patch event, which is very
Pre
common in MMOs.
It's like a pre-event event.
It is, but it is specifically for pre 323.
Yes.
This was mentioned on an ISC, probably somewhere else, but I remember it being mentioned on ISC. And so the way that it works is there are 6 different styles of missions. Technically, it's 5 phases, but it's 6 different styles of missions that are going to be unlocked over the course of the next weeks. They didn't get into specific about when each one is going to unlock, so we've just got the first one at the moment.
We don't have an official
Um,
date for Invictus yet, do we, right?
I don't believe so, but it's like late
Mid
May, right?
mid
Like
May, late May, something
mid
like
late
that.
May.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, we got to do this on the PTU. I talked about it on the podcast like a month ago or whatever,
Hmm.
and I really enjoyed it. I think the missions are absolutely fantastic. That it's just good gameplay, which is always good. Anytime we get a mission that's actually enjoyable gameplay.
Yeah, I was explaining
Yeah.
this right before the podcast to the chat where I was watching a video from Burks and he was like the
Mhm.
missions weren't fun. And I was like, okay, you know, the fair, it is fair because most
I mean,
likely you're
it can be not fun to him, sure, but
yeah,
that's something that I fully disagree with. Right?
yeah,
I think
that's
they're
an opinion.
amazing.
It's an opinion. It's whatever,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
cannot be fun because AI are not doing anything, right? If the AI
Sure.
aren't
Yeah.
coming out of the elevator, it decreases the fun significantly for the event.
Mm.
Because I've done those on the PTU when the AI are literally pushing you, and it was legitimately scary. I did it on
Yep.
live. That didn't happen, right? So that was a disappointing part of the event. But what I do appreciate is that they designed, at least for these initial missions, they designed missions that you needed other players uh,
Yep.
to make it more enjoyable and more easy, right?
Yeah,
I had
exactly.
I didn't have a majorly large party, but I didn't have a
Mhm,
small one, and we were all kind of doing things. We picked our own spot, and
mhm.
like partook in the mission all together, and it was quite fun. Right. On top of
Yep.
that, unique Xenothreat armor that you can loot, things like that. Right.
Yeah,
The
it's a nice
event itself very
yeah.
good in my opinion. It's a side
Yeah.
quest line, and the only thing in my opinion missing is this is dually, right? Like just adding a little bit
Yes.
more context to like the only feedback I had is when you complete it. Where we are currently is that you're
Mhm.
going down to a bunker, you're hacking a data terminal to gather information about when or where Xenothreat is planning on attacking. Okay?
Yep.
That's the whole idea behind the mission, but you have to read all
Mhm.
of that. Fine. If at the end of that mission I was hearing a voice line of a little bit of the data that was collected. Oh, we have some
Yeah,
information
yeah.
that they're maybe planning doing a little something like this. Okay. Then
Mhm.
I do the next one. Oh, now we know that they're doing this. And then, just adding to the story and making it a little bit more interesting and adding to the world building, I guess, would have been
Yep.
that's my only critique of the missions themselves.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's just, filling out the world a bit more
Yeah.
always good.
That's the point of
Um,
these, right? That's what quest lines do.
yeah.
There's a little reward at the end, but they also are world building things.
Yeah. I will also say quickly on the AI, we were in a we had like 13 people, which is far too many. Don't bring 13 people to
Yeah,
these
like
missions.
5 is
Uh,
probably max, and you're doing
yeah,
good.
yeah. But we had that many people, all from different time zones, in the mission on like a 7 server FPS server, and the AI was significantly better than it has been in the past. They were still pushing us. They were still actually
Damn,
hitting
dude,
us.
lucky.
They would stay in the elevator for maybe 3 seconds. So you could obviously, if you were staring at the
Yeah.
elevator, you could
Mine
get
wouldn't
them. But
leave.
this immediately they would leave afterwards. So we had a really, really good experience. Um, so I'm hoping that that means something. It might mean nothing, but I'm hoping that means something.
It means nothing just because the experience varies for players, unfortunately. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't go, well, my experience was good, therefore your opinion that the mission sucks, I disagree with, because it just is going to suck for some people, and it's going to be
yeah.
it
That's fair.
happened to be good for you. But you can still say you enjoyed the event. I think there's
Yeah,
nothing obviously wrong with that.
yeah.
But yeah,
So yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the missions to come out because there's some really good layers as well. So there's like a bounty mission type thing where you've actually got to go into the wreck and get an item. Towards the end of the mission, you've got to go to SPK. That's all I'll say. And well,
I
actually, the other thing I'll say
I
is just
actually
bring
know
people.
nothing. Yeah, I know
bring
nothing
bring
more.
people, Mike. Bring
Okay.
so many people to that SPK mission.
Okay.
Um, it's going to be a ton of fun. But kind of like what you said, it's got this really good story element to it that doesn't present itself unless you're really meticulous in like reading every single mission description. Um,
Well, the current mission
which it
descriptions were
feels like a
all the
missed
same, right?
opportunity.
The current mission
Y- uh,
descriptions, I've done
y-
level one, two, three, four, and
yes.
5, and they
Well,
all say the exact same thing.
so the phase one, all the phase one mission descriptions are the same, yes,
Okay,
and
yeah,
then all
yeah.
the phase two description, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, you just have to
Yeah,
read one of each phase. So when the phase
pretty much.
changes to the following, in a week or so, whenever they actually do it, because I think they
Hmm.
do say what phase we're on, right? We're on mission
Yeah,
one,
Intel Raid.
Intel Raid. And what they say is naval intelligence has located numerous Xenothreat cells already operating in Stanton, preparing and scouting for an impending attack. The CDF needs you to locate and neutralize these groups and recover all remaining intel. Open your Moby Glass and accept Overdrive Initiative Intel Raid missions to get
Hmm.
started. And then this will update like they've done with Xenothreat. Like there's different phases, and they'll update this page, and we'll get what the next mission is. And then
Yeah,
within these, there are missions that go from level 1 to level 5. You
yep,
need to only complete 5 of any level in order to move on and get your credit for the Intel raid. I've confirmed with the developers that
okay,
both all the developers that work within this, if they are
yep,
wrong and it didn't work, it's bugged, and yell
yeah, yeah,
at them on Spectrum. But it's coming directly from them. I'm not making don't yell at me.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
There is a lot of bugs with this system. The only other thing that I'll say is if you want to personally unlock the harder ones, you do need to do the preceding one. So like if
yes.
if if you want to unlock the 4 out of 5 difficulty, you have to have done the 3 out of 5 difficulty.
Hmm.
Someone can still share with you the other missions, that's fine. But if you personally want it, you've got to do it that way.
Yep, and that's how I did it. My group, we made sure everybody got 5 missions, and it will
Yeah, yeah.
count at the top.
Mhm.
It will say you were on 3 out of 5, even though you're doing a level 1 mission. If that was your 3rd mission that you've done, it will say 6 out of 5 if you did more than the 5 missions, because it's just like a bug with the
Mhm.
UI or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
You just got to do 5 and you count. I did 5 and I did all 5 levels because I just wanted to see
Mhm.
the heavy armor and like all the different armor types and things like that. They do get increasingly more difficult as you go, in terms of how long you have to wait and how many servers will like lose their cooling or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually quite fun. Just like, so you guys can see on the screen, we did see ISCs about this, but
Mhm.
basically you are inviting a hacker to come in and hack the database, and then the people who own the location are turning the cooling off of the server so you can't get at the information, and then you have to get a code outside of this room in order to turn the cooling back on, therefore needing to work with players because you theoretically should be getting attacked at the same time. Not
Yeah.
exactly how it plays out, because classic Star Citizen, but in general, even in its clunky form, it was more fun than your regular old fetch quest or kill quests.
Yeah.
So it was a
Yeah,
lot more
it's
involved than a standard MMO quest line.
yes.
So therefore, good in my opinion. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
100%.
Now to the shit.
They're the other part.
Now to the absolute dog
I think
shit.
actually we can just end the podcast there. I think
Yeah,
we're good.
we probably
Um,
should. We probably should. This fucking thing. It's beautiful. God damn it.
it's so good looking.
It's been the sexiest thing. It has been the sexiest ship in this game since the moment I saw it.
I wouldn't go that far just because
It's my
I
style,
don't
bro. I love it.
enjoy I don't enjoy Anvil's design language. I much prefer Aegis's.
Well, I
But
didn't
of all the
until they
Anvil
made
ships, it's the
this.
best looking.
I didn't until they made
Sure.
this one. It's
Sure.
so nice. I love it. All right. But I will say the way it looks, I do not have a bias towards my hatred about this event, like about any of that, right? It's not that I wanted the ship to be good or I wanted to earn it in the game or
Yeah,
whatever, okay? The ship costs, let's just go down to
I
cost.
think it was 160 USD, I
160
think.
is
The war
it.
bonds?
Okay, yeah, there we go. War, because that's what I was looking for. War bond
Yeah, yeah.
160, 175 for store credit, okay?
Mhm.
That's the
That
cost.
good old military tax.
They got some paints. They're I guess.
I don't know, the concierge paint's really nice. I saw
It's
that
just
yesterday.
black though, right?
But no, it's got like some goldish accents as you'll like normally see in a lot of concierge paints.
Yeah, it's
But honestly, the base paint is like good. It's nice. It's nice to see a military vehicle that isn't either in camo, just bare gray or like
Like
army
this
green,
bluey,
you know?
yeah, this bluey
Yeah.
bluey color is kind of cool. I do like that. Oh, the iron scale. This is the concierge one. It's okay.
Mm.
Icebound again. We've kind of.
I'm so sick of ice skins.
I've always kind of liked these, the camo, but the darker colors, and then
Sure.
Daymar. You know, we all love Daymar,
Yep.
so whatever, right? So paints
Yep.
are fine. The ship has some power creep. You might. I actually
Sort
don't.
of.
I actually don't know the difference between the Mark II and the Mark I, but in their marketing, it is significantly better in every aspect. Basically, they were just like, it is better. It is faster. It has more power. It has more guns. The wing guns are size 4 instead of size 3. That's one thing. The turret guns on the A are size 3 instead of size 2.
Yep.
And I think on the nose too, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. I think on the A you can get 2 4s and 4 3s.
Yeah.
On a medium fighter, which is quite hefty. The
It's basically
balance
an
thing,
F8C, right? It's
sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
The balance question is awkward at the moment because the regular Hornet is still the OP vehicle just because it's got the speed bug. Presumably it won't have that in 323, but
Yeah,
also in
master modes.
323 will be in master mode. So it's like you can't. It's too hard to say anything about actual balance for this at all, really.
Yeah.
until we see it in a couple months' time.
Yeah, like guys, they're even putting the batteries are listed here as well, like
Mm,
something that is an engineering thing, life
yeah,
support, computer. Like there's some things that are on here that aren't relevant to today's game that will be later, that will also
yeah,
likely be balanced at some point. The only thing worth pointing out, because I got a message from like a high end PvPer that said, "Hey Mike, you probably didn't notice, but you can just take the things off the A and put them on the C." And I was like,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
maybe, because here's the thing: the power plant has two size ones with the C,
Hmm.
which is typically significantly less powerful than one size two. Not significantly, but it could
Yeah,
be
yeah,
arguably significantly in this scenario less than the one size two that's on this one. So it may
yeah,
not be able to power the same amount of guns. Your capacitor might be too small, so it might not make sense to do those things. I don't
yeah.
know, but I'm just kind of pointing that out just in case. Um,
You can definitely at least the C is a little bit more powerful than it actually seems based on the like where it says the technical
yeah.
data. Just because
Have you
it
flown it?
doesn't just have. I have flown it.
I
It
haven't.
was
Yeah.
enjoyable. I pulled some G's real quick,
Okay.
which always feels good. Makes it feel regardless of how fast I'm going. If I'm pulling G's, feels fast.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you can put a lot more on it than it actually says. You can put the 2 4s, you can put the nose gun, you can put the regular Hornet uh, turret ball in the back still. Um, yeah, so it
But
actually has like a fair amount of firepower.
yeah, yeah, and I know people are saying you can put the nose gun, but the nose gun on the A is different than the nose gun on the Mark One. That's what I'm trying
Oh,
to
for
say.
sure, for sure. Yeah, no, no, I was agreeing with you. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
the C is more
I
powerful than it
I
necessarily
I was just
shows.
being a streamer for a second instead of a podcaster. I was talking to chat. In that case, my bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
that wasn't even a response to you. So apologize. But
no,
the
it's fine.
but then we can get into back to overdrive and
Yeah.
everything there. And I want to look back at before we even get into that. 2 days ago,
Hmm.
or 2 or 3 days ago, you have Richard Tyrer, you have Chris, you have Benoit all talking about the future and 1.0 and all the steps we need to take to be making your game. I have Rich Tyrer coming in my chat during CitizenCon telling me how he hates pay to win and now he's Star
Yep.
Citizen's game director and all this other stuff, okay? And then 2 days later, this event happens, right? So, I said, hey, at the end of the fiscal year, they're putting out this thing. The whole idea is to
Mhm.
instill confidence and all that stuff, and hopefully, have a great year going forward. The issue that I have here is that at the end of all these events, and like you said, I think it's going to be quite difficult to achieve this as well.
Mhm.
Like it's very easy to get 5 out of 5 right now. It's going to be much more difficult to get 5 out of 5 at the end. You will
I
get.
disagree
Oh, maybe
because
you make it sound like
of
it. I actually don't know. So you give me the insight there. Go ahead. I
well,
apologize.
so once you've completed, so they've said that the missions will continue
Yep.
throughout the entire event, right? So you can do the phase ones as you continue.
Hmm.
The second I finish 5 out of 5, I can't take any missions now from that phase. So I am out of that pool of taking that missions, which means if someone hasn't done it, it's more likely that mission's going to be available
Oh
for
yeah.
them.
Okay. Let me clarify then. The
So,
SPK version sounds very hard. So to actually complete all of the
oh, it's
phases,
just actually difficult. It's just a yeah.
yeah,
It's not that the taking the mission. It is genuinely hard mission.
yeah,
However,
that's what
once
I mean.
again, as we were talking about with like AI, maybe it won't be in live, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you might run into other players maybe more often with that one.
Oh
Is
yeah,
what
true.
I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, for sure.
it may be difficult to actually achieve the mission because other players getting involved.
Yeah.
Regardless, if you are able to complete everything, you end up with a token, a CCU token of some kind that allows you to change the F7C Mark II to this F7A for free
Hmm.
by completing all these. So you have an in-game reward that gives you a power bonus in game. But in the FAQ, which I don't currently have up, they stated that this only applies to the F7C Mark II, not
Hmm.
the Mark I. The only way to have the F7C Mark II is to buy it. So it is a event that is really well done. SPK is Security Post Korea, by the way. I see somebody asking in
Yeah, yeah.
chat. It's just a location in the game.
Hmm.
That's hard to infiltrate, especially if Master Modes is coming. It's going to be brutal. So you are getting a reward that you have to leave the game now, buy something, and apply that reward to the thing that you bought, or return store credit and then
Yeah,
purchase with your store credit, right? So you may not have to add any additional money. And
yeah, but
players,
there's a purchase required regardless. Is
yes,
a thing.
but guys, the community is like, hey, what the hell? Can we just have an event in game where we get a reward in the game? And then Ulf on Spectrum goes, well, you get the ship as a rental for 3 days.
Okay, so
Like, how disconnected are we here, guys?
so here's because I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the Spectrum people there. Here's where I'm coming from this whole thing.
There's no way you can disagree with the Spectrum people if they want if they want the game to be a game.
I meant the rental people. I disagree with the rental people. They're saying
Okay,
it's like it's fine, you get the rental. That's that. I
Community
don't agree with
manager
that.
Ulf. Okay, so you're disagreeing
Sorry,
with.
yeah.
Okay. Now
With
I understand.
that, yeah.
Gotcha. It
But
sounded like
here
you were
is where I'm
disagreeing
coming
with
from.
the mob that was like, "Yo, can we just get a
No,
game?"
of course.
Okay.
Having in-game rewards is a huge deal, and we're playing a video game. We want rewards, of course we do, right?
Okay. Yeah.
There's a few sort of ways that while I don't think this is good, I think it is better than the previous two events that have had a similar idea to
In
this.
some ways.
Okay. And I forgot the other thing I was going to say, but I definitely think that it's better than the other two events we've had. So, the big example is the first time they essentially did this with the golden ticket for the F8C. Sorry, I was awake for 24 hours and now my throat is dead
I
from
barely
sleeping today.
slept
The platinum event, I thought was this really cool idea that was ruined by the gold ticket part of it.
Sure.
And I mean truly ruined by the gold ticket part of it, because it was just nothing. It was just, here is a ship that is for sale that you have to play the game to get, but you don't really. You walk into a room and then you walk out of the room, right?
Well, what about the platinum part of it?
The platinum part of it I thought was fantastic.
Okay.
But I think that has nothing to do with this. I think those are incredibly disconnected types of events. So this event itself, I think the having a reward at the end of the event is obviously fantastic. I would prefer that it would be an in-game event, in-game reward. Obviously, it can't be the kind of reward that's going to get wiped. It can't be UEC or anything like that. There's also the economy has been stuffed for the last year or so. So you would assume, hey, some kind of cool hanger item or whatever would be a fantastic reward. I think they did worse than that, but at the next best thing, which was, hey, essentially a discount. You unlock a discount. And I think that's fine. I don't think it's good in general. That's what they decided. I would have, like I said, preferred that they gave us something tangible. But I think it's fine. I think it's the kind of situation where if they gave us no reward, there wouldn't be complaints, and that's why I'm confused.
You're right about that. You're right about that. If they gave no rewards, there would be less complaints. You're absolutely right about that. And it just comes down to what it represents. And what it represents is, I want to go right back to, we were talking about 1.0, we were talking about the commercial release of this video game, and then we immediately, 2 days later, the people who were talking to you and trying to build confidence in you that they were, working towards a video game, put in something where you're able to say it's fine that I got a discount on a web store by participating in the game, right? And you're okay with this. And that is the part that just hurts my fucking brain, is that we're in a place where we are okay with we are talking about the commercial release of the game, working towards a finished product, and the very next day we have an opportunity to show an example of where we're going with that direction, and the direction is to the web store, dude. That's my worry about this, is that immediately 2 days later they're directing you to the web store. And I absolutely understand they are in the business of game development, and game development costs money. All right? I am not saying do not make money. Guys, I laugh at the fact that every single in-game event, Siege of Orison, Jumptown, all these things, I laugh at it because it's funny, because they do a ship sale alongside with those, right? But they are not integrated in. They're not integrated into it. They are just a sideshow of it, right? And they decided that they wanted to integrate it in again, like the F8C. And I let you cook there, but why
Mhm.
I think the F8C was so much better is because of the platinum ticket, and I do think that they are relevant. Yes,
Okay.
where and why I said to you that in some ways this event is better. So many more people get to participate in this event than we're
Yeah.
actually able
Uh,
to
yeah.
visualize and participate with the Idris or the platinum ticket, right? They were so
Yeah.
not inclusive to the larger player base. This is
Mhm.
way more inclusive with a much shittier reward, right? You got
Okay.
a free
Okay.
ship
I
for
think
those.
I think in the case, because once we're not necessarily
We're not.
disagreeing that it's a good, like it's a bad reward. It is for
Yes.
sure.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I think it's more that I put more weight towards the event itself than the reward in this situation, and that's why I think that it is better than the F8C event, because the event was trash. It was not fun. It was not a good time
Yeah. Same with
because
the
no one
Idris.
got to participate, right?
Hmm.
And same with the Idris. Yeah, it's like if you did get to do it, it was awesome, but no one got to do it. Um, and to still like continue, like I don't like CIG marketing. I like their videos, but I don't like their
Yeah,
marketing,
I don't think
and
you're
never really
defending
have.
them. So just to be very clear, like, well, no, it's not to be very clear because you actually uh clarified that. I thought you were saying that the this part of the Hornet event was not that big of a deal when we had talked, and I think it's
I mean, it's
I think
still
it's
no, that is my point. I don't think it's that big of a deal as long as like my potential issue from this event comes from sort of what you got to at the start of us talking about this topic, which was the like anti-pay to win aspect. If these vehicles do become like tier zero meta, as in like there's no reason to use any vehicle other than these, then 100% get this shit out of here. I will be actually so mad. In my head right now, this is a skin reward.
well, it's not a skin reward because it's a power upgrade, right? Because
Well,
it is
it's but not really right now. That's what I'm kind of saying. It's not really right now
it's
because
literally
right now
bigger
the
guns
regular
and a
Hornet
higher
is.
power plant, right?
It's worse than the regular Hornet, and like that's a huge deal.
Yeah, but by the time you're upgrading to the, because it's coming at Invictus, 323 will be out at
Mhm.
Invictus, so you can't
We hope.
yeah, we hope, but I don't think you can. I don't think you can say that. I don't think that's an argument that can be had in this, because the argument is the system we currently play in is not
Mhm.
the game we're going to be playing, right? You're not even going to be able to apply this CCU until after the broken Hornet meta is completely gone.
Sure. And then that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah, you
the
don't.
only way that I think
Yeah,
the reward is like actively bad
yeah.
is if the ship becomes super strong.
Fair enough, and I will add to
Yeah.
that. It is even worse. Like, your example is the absolute worst case scenario. I think
Mhm.
mine is slightly less bad than yours, but if I'm
Okay.
not able to buy this Hornet MK2 in game 1 quarter or full patch release after this thing is sold, like every other fucking ship is, and I'm
Mhm.
not able to apply the thing that I earned in game to that thing that I earned in game, they can fuck off. Okay? And the
I
fact,
think that's a reasonable. Yeah,
yes,
like the
if
if
all
they
I
had
have to do
made
is wait to apply,
yeah.
there is significantly less pay to win in this game. It is
Mhm.
significantly not exclusively on the web store. It does not exclusively have a buy-in. It just has, well, you just got to wait 1 quarter and then you can do all of this stuff. And even if
Mhm.
my argument is also this, is that token, that CCU needs to permanently be on your account, which was in the FAQ as not being the case, because if you melted it, it's gone. So if I lose
Oh,
my
sure. Yeah.
upgraded ship because LTP didn't work out, I better be able to still apply this A to my C when I buy it in game again, because we're in an alpha and the game doesn't always work.
I will just say in regards to that specific instance, I imagine it's because it will actually increase the value of the ship for the purpose of CCUs. Because if you then it's
Maybe.
similar to like what do you call them, like the referral rewards. If you were able to melt them, like it's fake digital money anyway, but like if you were able to melt them, it's just
Mhm.
free money in your wallet, you know?
Yeah.
Um, which is still a bad marketing tactic, but I imagine that's why that's the case. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, like the mechanics behind the scenes or whatever, but you need to be
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to apply this to a ship in game, otherwise it's just pay to win.
Yeah. Yeah,
Whether
that
it's
would
good or
be
not, it's pay to win.
yeah.
If it's
Yeah,
really good, then it's like how you said it is bad.
yeah. If they did have it where you could apply it to an in-game ship, from my perspective, it would go from a like meh to amazing. And it would be such a good reward.
Agreed.
Uh, and that'd be fantastic. And it is something that I really do hope they look into in the future because it's a good reward. Please do that. That'd be awesome. It's very similar to what you're already doing, but with the aspect of you're also letting people play the in-game,
Yeah.
but play the game. So
Yeah, and I don't know
yeah,
if I made it like super duper clear, but again, why I think this event is significantly worse is it absolutely has a 100% buy-in to participate as far as we're aware. And let me tell you something, the community team does not know the answer to that question of can I apply this to a ship earned in game with 100% certainty. I asked, I'm still waiting for an answer. It's obviously the weekend, so I'm
yeah.
not getting an answer on that until
I feel like it's
Monday or
probably one of
later.
those. It's probably one of those questions of like when they do respond, it'll be like we don't know because maybe they'll want to do it in 3 years' time. That they will want to let you do that.
Well, it needs to not
You
be in
know?
3 years' time. It needs to be
Yeah.
immediately, and it needed to be addressed before this event was ever run, right? And that is the concerning
Sure.
thing, and that goes all along, all the way back again to this 1.0 and all this talk. Is if we're doing all this talk and we're all talking about how we're going to be able to make this video game, how in the hell can I trust that you're capable of doing that when you are incapable of delivering just a decent experience that is in the game exclusively with a decent reward that makes sense for the player? They have never achieved this yet. Can you think of an example of where they've achieved this? In my opinion, the Vandal Mask is the best event they've ever done, and it was
Sure.
completely jank and completely broken. Right? So even then, that was a massive failure, but that was the best failure they've had so far.
I would argue performance dependent. The Xeno threat that they gave you the award of the undersuit. However, it's not really anything. That's the other
It's a
kind of problem I
collectible.
have with the rewards.
It's a
Yeah, it's
collectible,
just
and
a it's
collectibles
just
are
a collectible.
meaningful to some people and not to others,
Sure.
which is not an overall positive. But I was
Mm.
making this argument when Burks was talking about the like the missions weren't very fun.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine. When you play MMOs, and you've definitely played MMOs before. I don't think Burks
Mhm.
comes from an MMO background, and I made this point because of that. Is there's hundreds of quest lines in an MMO, and each quest line has usually a specific unique reward at the end of it. And if
Mhm.
you'll probably hear guides, or you'll probably ask somebody where they got this weapon, like the old day MMOs. Hey, where did you get that thing? The stats on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are something I want. He tells you what quest line to go to. In present day, you go to YouTube and get a guide. Unfortunately, sorry, it sucks. And
Yep. But well, even then, that's still kind of not terrible. Like it's worse.
it's
It's
also
not
not the
bad.
point.
You know.
It's
Yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
not the point of what I'm saying. What I'm saying
Sure.
is that we only have one quest line, and this also sucks because not everybody wants to fly a fucking Hornet, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, sure. Yeah,
you're just offered a reward that is leaving out a majority of the player base. It
yeah.
makes again, like the thought process here from them. Again, I'm supposed to believe that you're going to be able to deliver a good 1.0, but your first quest line, technically, because obviously we have the Miles Eckhart missions, the first quest line
Sure.
that you delivered in Star Citizen negates what percentage of your player base? A large percentage of it, right? So you could have had a more generic reward that was less meaningful overall in terms of power creep, but more relevant to the players that are playing around you. It could have been an FPS weapon, maybe it could have been an armor, it could have been clothing, it could have been anything you want. But
Yeah.
but if it's a specific ship that maybe somebody doesn't even like the way it looks, you are taking away from people. a little bit, right? So I think that's a
Yep,
failure of the
that's
mission
yeah.
as well, or a critique of the mission. I don't want to say a failure because I don't think the mission
Yeah,
is
sure.
entirely a failure. I think marketing got their
Yeah, no.
filthy fucking hands on it, and unfortunately, they got way too much of their hands on it, like way too much, man. And we need to
Sure.
just. I don't have confidence that they're going to be able to learn from this. This is the third one, and we've been critical about them, and they made it worse. In my opinion, yeah, you didn't think so, but in my opinion, they made it
yeah,
worse.
I don't agree. I think they have learned, but they've still got more to learn.
They have a lot
Significantly
to
more
learn, and I don't think they're
Yeah.
capable of it anymore. I'm.
Yeah.
They have to prove like this is same as the letter. You can talk all you want, but you have to actually action this. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna learn from this. We're gonna take your feedback. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't believe you anymore.
What I will say before we get to callers, because
Yeah.
Mike and I have been talking for, well, we always talk for far too long. The entire podcast is us talking to far too long. The one thing that I'm sure we can agree on, at the very least, in like a sort of summary of all that, is we do need better rewards in general, regardless.
Yep.
And we need those. We do still need those to be in game as well. They
Exclusively in game.
Yeah, exclusively in game.
One thing,
Regardless of either of the opinions of where it sits, that's where the game needs to go.
and how about this, guys? Like one thing that CIG, let's be okay. I've been very critical. Let me be very uncritical, or very happy about something that CIG marketing decisions have made. Ships, they put them in game for purchase. But one thing that I think they do better than most other games do is you are able to you can just get lucky and find subscriber gear and all those things in a loot box at a bunker, right? And a lot of game studios will never do that for you. Those are web store exclusive cosmetics, right? So you're now able to get some kind of cool cosmetics in the game as well. And if they ever do it in the right way, where like it's a cosmetic that you apply to something, they can maybe lower that rarity that you find them. But if you do find them, you know, you kind of have that thing forever, and that I thought was a really good choice that they made, and like something that we should praise them for. I think that's a really good decision to make. But then they do stuff like this.
It's also a decision they made years ago, so it's you know, we've become accustomed to that, you know.
Yeah, we've become accustomed to it, but I still think we should pat them on the back for it because they deserve it in that situation. Like, I don't want to just hammer on them all the time and say CIG bad, because they're not all bad all the time, right? And the only thing that I really have to say more on this is that I feel fucking horrible for every single developer who worked on this thing to make it an enjoyable
like the event
experience.
Itself, or the
event
like,
itself.
And the Hornet?
And the Hornet. Yeah, because I think it's getting hate for all the wrong reasons. The ship doesn't deserve hate, and the events don't deserve the hate that they're getting. It's just the community / marketing team, or whoever had their hands in and Rich and Chris and everybody who had their hands in deciding that this was totally a fine fucking thing to do, because it's not. That's all I have on it. If you want to go to callers, we can do that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
so
we touched
fucking
on
mad, dude.
Mikey Madge. I think that's pretty much everything. We touched on most of the parts, and yeah, let's see what the community thinks.
Yeah. All right, our first caller is going to be PC 101. I'm going to say it earlier, so if they are listening to the stream, since we are talking a lot, we can get to them. The goal, I think, is there's not too much to add from what we were saying, I don't think. So I'll try to keep the calls pretty short, and we'll get as many people in, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people on the line. So trying to sneak in 5 would be great. All right.
Yep.
PC, can you hear us? Just brought you in. Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
I'll try and speedrun it.
You don't have to speedrun it, but
I know.
Not 20 minutes. That's all. Sometimes we do 20-minute calls.
Yeah.
The main reason I'm calling in is the marketing thing, but I'll hit on some of the other things you talked about at the beginning. The 1.0 thing. I'm not expecting that. I guess Nothing Burger. We're not getting that within like a decade. I don't think. I feel like
decade. Oh man.
Yeah. For 1.0, it has to be working. So I feel like they're just going to be stuck. They're going to use the excuse of, "Oh, we're in beta. That's why it's not working." Because 1.0, everything has to be working. You can no longer use the excuse of, "Oh, we're in beta."
It doesn't, though. Unfortunately, that's the problem. Is it doesn't have to be working in 2024, because that's the stage of games that we are in today.
it also doesn't have to have all of the features. And that's exactly what, when they do that presentation that we're talking about, that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be, these are the features that will be ready for 1.0. These are how many systems we're going to have for 1.0. And it's going to be, the features might be a little bit better because it's been really good in the last couple of years, but the things like locations going to be way less than was originally planned.
Then the server meshing thing, that's also, I kind of feel like a nothing burger. It's kind of exactly how I thought that was going to happen. I'm glad that they were seeing progress in it, because before we had no idea if they were actually making progress in it. So I'm glad that they've showed a goal that they are progressing in that system, that it looks like we might actually get a separate server for a separate planet, or a separate for a big battle. So I'm glad
What
about
makes
that.
it a nothing burger for you? Because obviously I was very passionate about that, and I think it's a huge deal. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
It kind of feels like a non-topic, if you get what I mean.
Why?
We don't,
Like, is this not a really important piece of tech that we're finally getting to test, and we're finally getting to see the game a bit more populated and stuff? Like, I feel like that's super.
We don't see it. People in Evo saw it, and it's a cool thing. But it's like, until I see it, it's a nothing thing until I get it in my hands.
That makes sense.
It's good to see that they're progressing. That it looks like it's on the horizon, whereas before it was kind of silent about it.
Fair enough. Now I understand where you're coming from.
Right.
Like, it's one thing for me to make a YouTube video with just my face on there and say how great everything was. It's a whole totally another story for you to jump through the jump point yourself.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, 100%.
So I'm super excited when I do the jump point, but until I actually do that, I'm not thinking about it.
How are you not an Evo?
I don't do bug reports.
Same.
It technically makes sense for me
friend.
not to be an Evo. I can understand why I'm not, but yeah.
Okay.
I would be the worst Evo person. I'm glad they haven't put me in.
I am the worst Evo person. I'm not that bad, actually, but I'm pretty bad.
Like, I found a bug like 2 days ago that I should do a bug report. I just can't be arsed.
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
the X1 is broken. If you try to get an X1,
It is, yeah.
breaks your
We were
character.
we were talking about that at System 7 today. Really, really hoping they fix that soon.
Which is weird, because it's a hot. How did a hot fix for this event break that? I don't know. It's weird, but it's just
Possibly, yeah.
dev stuff.
I mean, yeah, that's dev stuff. Like, I changed the menu in Eco when I was deving a server, and the sky turned to black instead of blue. Like, what did the F1 help menu have to do with the sky? I have no idea, but that's game dev. So
Mike is surprised when it becomes nighttime.
Yep, it just randomly became night. It made no sense.
I mean, on the upside, it's broken, so I melted it, and I got the new ship because I melted for store credit. So there's a positive there.
Easy.
Now the event on paper, I think it's a really good event. It gets people to try missions they might not have tried. It gives you a reason to play it. It's a bit short. I mean, you're going to complete it within like 2 hours, assuming that you have a decent team with you. But even that, you don't need a team. They went funny when we first got the data heist missions. They were really difficult because they were brand new servers and it spawned NPCs. They would come out. It was super aggressive. There was loads of them. It was hard. Yesterday, done within 2 hours. They never left the hat. Once you killed the first bunch, they never left their elevator. So it's a shame because you see them. It's a good mission. They put a lot of work into it. It's just let down by the server.
Yep. And that's been such a common complaint for the last, forever, right?
Which is why the
how many
server
times
thing's so relevant.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, how many times have we had what we can see is going to be really good gameplay get ruined by server performance or
like the
bugs?
Siege
It's
gets
the
ruined
classic
by server.
Exactly. Like, Siege is such a sick event when the enemies are doing anything. Yeah.
Now, so obviously, I think the event's okay, great. You get people to do different missions. It's a bit annoying that after 2 hours I'm done, and now I'm like, there's nothing. You can't like replay it. So now I've got to wait 2 weeks. Unless you have teammates who haven't done it, you can share the mission. But it's a bit disappointing. I have to wait now a week for the next
you can't grind it. You can't like other dynamic events you can just spam over and over and over again. This one isn't that, and like I think that's fair. You need to have events that are a bit more like that, but for those of us that play it a ton,
it was
like
weird.
I haven't done
It's
the
a
fees up
reputation
bunkers,
thing.
I guess.
It was supposed to be like a reputation thing, and it's not like a reputation grind, right? You just do the 5 missions because they kind of said earn your stripes is what they made it seem like. So you're earning rep with CDF, but they didn't quite like tie in the rep grind as much to this, unfortunately.
the rep thing's I'm going to jump ahead to where I was going to get to this point at some point, but it's weird because the previous like Xeno event, each rep gave us a piece of armor.
Yeah.
They should have done it with this one, so you get like some special Xeno boss armor for doing this event. So each rank you went up, that would have
Every
been a cool
phase you
rewards.
complete, you get a
That
thing.
would,
Yeah.
and they have the armors in the game, so that would have been better than the ship sale thing. You could do the ship sale thing plus the armor thing, but yeah. But the problem I have with this event, and it's the same as the last time I rang up, was like I was kind of disgusted at CIG, and I'm going to rephrase that. I'm not disgusted at CIG. I'm disgusted at the marketing. It feels like we have two entities. We have CIG who are making this game. The devs are working super hard, making all these cool missions. Then we have this like dark force in the corner called marketing that's completely
all the
separate from the
strings.
game. Because when you look at like in the last paragraph that Chris talked about in his letter, and I quote, "Together we are building a community that not only plays a crucial role in our development, it also embodies our shared passion for the Star Citizen universe." So it's like, CIG building this community, and the marketing is just like doing the opposite. It's trying to not build a community. It's trying to push people away from the game, from this like disgusting.
I don't think they're trying to push people away. I think that they are actively
Turn
working...
people away.
Yeah, they're maybe turning people away, or they are getting in the way of building a game that people can be passionate about. I think.
Yeah.
Sure, and I think it is 100% the case that they are essentially two different entities, because marketing is such a extremely complicated and weird beast just in general in the world. And I fully imagine, the people that are doing marketing, I don't imagine they care too much about the power level of an F7C, because that's not their job to care about, right? That is their job is to make money. That can lead to these sort of decisions.
I might jump in here
I
on
don't know.
this.
It's weird. Yeah.
I'm going to have a really hot take that, like, the way PC described it was, we have these devs that are working really hard. I mean, I described it like this as well, that we have these devs that are working really hard on these missions, and then marketing gets their hands on it, right? And you know what I really think is happening is marketing's going, all right, mission team, we need an event for Invictus. What do you want to do? They sit down, they have a meeting, they have a big talk. All right. Hornet MK2, Hornet Mark II. We got to have it be a little bit more powerful because we need a little power creep in our game. We got to sell it. All right, cool. It's going to have size 4 guns. It's going to have these. Great. Power creep. We love that. Wonderful. It's going to be this expensive. All right. Now the mission. You're going to make this mission that's going to drive player engagement, and then at the end, then we're going to fuck you. And so all through that, it started with marketing. That's my hot take. Is I think this entire event started with them. They didn't look at development that was ongoing and go, we can take advantage of this. I think it was started with them.
I think that is a hot take, because I just because of the way that the mission is, I don't think there's a chance it started with marketing. I think it's more likely that it is we have this idea for an event, and then that got presented to all the teams, including the ship team possibly and stuff. But I don't know if that's ever a thing we'll ever know, because it's such a weird.
No, we won't. That's why it's a hot
aspect
take.
of the
We'll
company,
never know. I'm just like purely speculate 100%. Somebody in chat said, Richard Tyrer said, I hate pay to win 2024. Nah, man, he said it in 2023, unfortunately. We're in 2024 now, so I guess it doesn't matter.
There's nothing to win, so you can't pay to win.
Yeah, exactly.
When you think about this event and the last one, the last one was Idris, but the one before it.
F8, yeah.
They've pulled ships that they already had in Squadron, because it's weird that they've released I think it's an easy thing to do to pull those. Yeah, because they're not even gold standard. It's weird. It's like, oh, we'll just take it. We don't have to gold standard it, kind of thing. It's kind of weird.
I will just quickly say, I imagine both ships, like, because there was that period of time where they're like, we're going to start making ships at gold standard. I imagine both of these ships were made after that time, just because of how they work. But like, I still understand your point. But
before that time, you mean, right?
No, after, because they're both essentially like done. Like,
they're not gold standard, right?
Well, they said after a point we're going to start making all like ships that got released after a point.
Yeah.
Were to be made at gold standard, essentially. So
Yeah.
all of the ships that have been made since then are gold standard.
But you're
Would
saying
these
that they
ones
made
not
it
be that?
after.
No, the ships should have been before they made the point of we don't want to release Infinites not gold standard.
Yeah,
I
these
think
were
those
already
ships
in Squadron.
Yeah, that's why I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do they not? Okay, they don't have component access. Cool. That's I had
The
assumed
F8
that these
isn't gold
essentially were
standard. Yeah, like all the Squadron ships aren't because they're just Squadron ships.
I think they're just pulling assets without gold standing in it because they're already kind of done.
Yeah.
Just not gold standard. It's easy just to pull that and use that as the event ship.
Which makes it even worse, I think.
Yeah.
Because
in regards to selling the ship, I think I would have did it a different way. I think I would have gave the community, maybe not this ship, but gave the community a ship, and then an option to pay to upgrade it to a better ship. I think you would have got more money that way. Than because if everyone gets the ship, they're going to go, oh, I kind of want the better one. I'm going to spend that extra $30 to upgrade it.
You probably don't when the ships are that expensive. Is the issue?
Yeah, I know. I know it costs so much to make the ships from a development point. I think
I mean like because they're selling this ship at 160, and then it's like the free upgrade rather than free ship and then paid for upgrade. Like, is that what you're saying? Like free ship paid for upgrade?
Yeah, I think more people would pay to upgrade than to buy the ship.
Exactly.
I think
we would have made more money that way.
I think way more people are using store credit to get the Hornet MK2 and then hopefully getting the game for or the upgrade for free in game. Where I think what PC is saying, since it's a smaller buy-in, it's more like a microtransaction, and you're more likely to get somebody to swipe kind of quickly because it's not as big of a buy-in, right?
Yeah.
So like a Warbond 160 is a money's all relative between money's relative between people.
It's like $50 to upgrade.
Yeah, like what if it's $30-$40? Like people will swipe more easily on that upgrade rather than pay 160 for a new ship.
Right.
That's his argument, but who knows? But PC, let's make final thoughts here.
That was it. I think CIG, the company, Crest, I think they're building a really good game, a big community. They're building this community, and then you have this separate entity, which is just the thing in the corner that no one speaks of.
The Sith.
Yeah, the dark side. Anyway, I'll move on so you can move on. So thanks for having me. Now catch you later.
Yeah, no, cheers, PC.
All right, bro. Thanks PC. Bye now. Guys, check out PC on YouTube and Twitch if you guys haven't yet. PC 101. All right. Good dude. Good dude.
One good thing you can always say about marketing, they've got some handsome people in their videos.
Well, were you in
anyway,
one of
let's
the
get to
videos?
the
Is
next
that what you're
caller.
trying to say?
Yeah. I was in the wow.
You were in the racing one.
Mike forgets. Damn right.
No, I didn't get it at first. I thought you were talking about the devs or something.
That was clearly a bad joke, so I've messed up.
Yeah, it went over my head. I'm sorry.
Step back, how you doing?
Oh boy. I'm doing good.
Fantastic. What do you want to talk about?
So, since we are keeping it short, the main topic I want to talk about is 1.0, but I can give my thoughts on the other topics. Marketing bad, server meshing is good, progress there. The new missions are also nice.
Yep.
But there comes the 1.0 thing. They want multiple thousand people, I think, in one star system. And now we have like 50 people in one server trying to do a certain mission type. And we already run out of locations very, very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, just to that specific example, one of the promises of 323 is essentially to fix this with these new locations.
Multiple missions at one location.
Yeah, multiple missions at one location, and not only that, but there's a ton of those locations. The thing is, how many? Like, where is the limit? Like, how many people can you have before that then becomes oversaturated and so on? And it's going to be a problem that CIG are going to have to solve, and it's going to be hopefully not at like I want to be in a stage where I don't have to wait 10 minutes for the mission that I want to pop up. I want to be able to take the mission the second I'm in the game. How long am I going to have to wait to do that?
The one thing that I would respond to that is let's go all the way back. This was a very long time ago with Todd Pappy, actually, I think. So rest in peace, Todd. But the thing that he was talking about was caves. And we want to have hundreds of these caves. And then they had like 3. And it was because they could not fit enough entities in the server. This was like around the time of Levski and stuff was still around, I think. And they had to remove that, right? So one of the things that's really, again, special about um, server meshing is we are able uh, to add more things. So we will run out of less locations. They have like they kind of are doing the steps in the right order. We have Rastar now, so they're able to place these things down quickly. So they say, and like again, what is quickly to them? We're in year 12 now, so I don't know what the fuck quick is for them. But they're able to do it quickly, and then they should be able to have the room for them. So one day we might have a moon or a planet that's got cities and again, a lot of copium, I know, I'm sorry, but cities and towns and settlements and outposts and more to do and less limitations on being able to take a mission given the location and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's again why this server meshing thing in one given system is so meaningful. Because now you can have more entities, which means more locations, which means spawning Idrises, which means all sorts of things like that.
Missions,
it does snowball. It is one of those floodgate moments, and I know that's a big meme, but this is actually like, if these tests work, it is a floodgate moment for certain.
Yep.
Sorry, Stempek, we took a little bit of your time.
Yeah, no problem. I think I agree mostly with you. One concern I have is that like the distribution centers, it took them how long to develop them?
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years, yeah. And this for like location type is quite a long time for an MMO, I think.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, they want to build an MMO.
How do you mean? Because I
in order
don't
to disagree with that, Croncy, in order to disagree with that, you have to believe that these distribution centers equate to an expansion, like a WoW expansion.
No, I don't. But that's also you're talking about the entire dev team of a World of Warcraft expansion versus the much smaller team of Star Citizen. Now it's different, obviously, but like,
how about this
you know
instead?
What I mean?
323 is considered an expansion, and in some ways, you can argue that it might be.
I wouldn't even compare it with other games. Like Star Citizen is its own game,
also.
and we have our player numbers, and we have our needs for these player numbers. Like we want them to do stuff at locations, in space, and so on. And these needs, they need to deliver that there's enough space for that. And the question is if they can do that or not. Like if it doesn't matter if World of Warcraft or some other game can do it, and in which time it's about if they can do it with their team, build these locations. And we've seen like with the derelict outpost. Like there were, I think, 3 first with the first implementation, and then it skyrocketed to like 20 or something in the next patch, and it got even more and more and more. But
that's a good example, I think, actually, of sort of what you're saying, because that took, I believe, the time for the derelict settlements, the initial ones, was about a year, and the actual initial one was just the reclaimer, and the non-important ones, the ones that are just chaff that's been thrown around, and then we got, I think, the patch later. It might have been 2 patch laters
after that.
Yeah, we started to get a big influx, and then they started to make them really big recently. It's been that was a big example of a bunch of content coming, and it took them about a year.
Can I jump in because we have breaking news? Breaking news.
Yep.
EVA build in assessment has new character customizer, EVA tier 2, new loot system, visor update, dynamic crosshair, reloading changes, physical shopping, what is that? I have no idea, and replication layer server crash recovery. And that's all planned and testing for today, and I have a hockey game probably during the test. Oh god, I really hope not. So
it's all right, just send me your login details. I'll get in there.
Yeah. How did Mike get to Australia that quick?
Sorry, continue, Sempek.
So yeah, I had to jump in and let everybody know.
Yeah, just post your login data in the chat and we take care of it. No problem.
Yes, because my login data doesn't also equate to my account and all the ships on it. Okay.
No problem.
We'll leave those alone, right?
So a little thing I want to talk about before, is like what I really liked about the new mission type is that you need multiple people. And I think many people in-game didn't notice that so fast, because we are very much used to like doing bunkers alone, doing all the bounties alone, like everything we do alone.
I heard one person soloed it, but I know it's not
Yeah, of course, someone soloed it. Yeah.
I know it's not easily soloed.
Yeah. But I really like the idea that finally, like with engineering, even mining, and all these professions, that we finally do them together. That we have a real reason, and we not just because it's fun, but also because we actually need to. And this could actually also solve the location problem, because if 5 people do one bunker instead of 1, we need 4 less bunkers. And I really hope with the future locations that they implement more type of gameplay, like in this direction, like what they actually expect from an MMO.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Again, not to continuously go back to that conversation with Burks, but I had a little one, and again, like explaining more of like the MMO thing is this is like the intro into what would be the big raid. So if you're not a fan of these missions, that's okay, because how they're selling Xenothreat, and this is where they have to be successful, is Xenothreat has to feel like a raid. It has to be a boss battle, and it cannot be as bad as it was in the past. It needs to be an improvement on that, and this is all leading up to that. Of course, they're going to be dumbed down, and not like fully involved in incredibly detailed missions, because Xenothreat is supposed to be that, right? And the lead up to that will be this, and hopefully that this is a build up, and a proper build up starts slow and builds up slowly to that. And from what I can tell, since we end up at SPK, which again I don't know actually the details of the full chain, because I didn't get to PTU test this very well, was it does sound like it's going to be a bit of a build up, and then with a big culmination of something cool, I hope.
To clarify, when you say it needs to be better than Xenothreat has been in the past, is that a comment on the gameplay of Xenothreat or the performance of Xenothreat?
Both, because they're selling it as we've completely revamped it and changed it. So the gameplay is going to be different, so it needs to be an improvement, and it also needs to perform better as well.
Okay, yeah, because I think the gameplay was fine, but it definitely can't be, if they are changing stuff, it can't be worse. That's horrible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Xenothreat had probably the most like interesting, involved dynamic mission stuff so far, right? With I gotta grab the boxes and blah blah blah. So
multiple industries interacting as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know how much time I have left, because I have like.
We took a lot of yours, so feel free to.
Yeah.
All right. Like the letter of the chairman, like they're talking about 1.0 and stuff.
Yep.
What I hope, but this is copium and stuff, is that if they do this correctly, there is no more what if we could, but more like this is it, and we're building this. Like no more a concept. The concept should be then done, and we know what they're building, and no more everything unknown. More what they're actually building, because we noticed it, I think, like in close to every Inside Star Citizen and sometimes SEL. Here's a concept, this could have this, and we could do this and there, and it should be more of a, we have the concept, you're gonna do this, you have all the possibilities, and we already have them in mind. That they finally have this huge concept, because I think they told us long ago that they have it, but it doesn't. With every new feature, it doesn't feel like it. Like there are still some connections missing, and like thinking about 1.0, which should mean to me that they have the concept finished, and they're just building and building, iterating, of course, but no more concepts, endless concept, and more a clear vision. Yeah, that would mean it for me. Maybe they have a different perspective, But yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's what I need. I need a clear vision, but I don't just need a clear vision. I need to see them achieving that vision, because the vision of Star Citizen has changed every year. It's been a little different, and we're calling it something different. Now we're calling it a fully realized space MMO. Every year it's something new. It was a sim, and now it's an MMO, and now it's the, and it's like, what the one thing that they've never had, at least a perception of, is a clear vision.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
It's I would argue it's been getting clearer, but it's always
Yes,
been
I agree.
it's always been fuzzy. Yeah.
Very fuzzy, but getting clearer.
like all these things we talked about recently, like even master modes and the new locations and engineering. I mean, these are all tied together. Like, in what kind of game this is, even the medical stuff and the FPS and so on. And every time we discuss these things, people have completely different thoughts about them, because they imagine the game a bit different, or maybe a bit more different.
Yeah.
And this should be slowly be clear what we're actually heading to, I think.
I hope so. Yeah. But all right, Stempek, I guess we'll leave you there. But
yeah, thanks for having me.
I hope,
Cheers for the call.
I hope things get clearer. I gotta say, I'm gonna have to agree.
They need to be. They need to be like.
Yeah, for sure. All right, brother. We'll let you go.
Yeah, thanks
Talk
for
to
having
you.
me.
Cheers,
Bye now.
everyone.
Our next one is Cryptical. Cryptical, can you hear me?
Cryptical, how you doing?
Hello. Stream. Nice to meet you, Croncy.
Yeah, you too.
What do you want to chat about?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Events. I think every single SC event so far has been a little underwhelming or have a lot of issues. The F8C, you got the servers, not enough players can participate a lot of the time, and that's very unfortunate. And it's always tied to a ship sale too, which kind of muddies the things as well. So it kind of really sours the taste of every single event. A lot of these events and a lot of online live service games is being able to achieve a sense of accomplishment by getting a reward in game, and maybe have something to show off, be like, hey, I was there, I did that. And
exactly.
That's been lacking in a lot of games lately, is that a lot of things are moving towards this you pay us to look cool, pay us to get these rewards, and unfortunate.
I'll just push back on the that hasn't been happening in games as much recently. It definitely hasn't been happening in Star Citizen for sure. But I mean, the sort of I was there, I did that has become such a big thing in a lot of the larger titles, like Fortnite and Apex. Whenever they have big event changes, big season changes, is huge memorable events that people are a part of. That's the only thing I'll push back on it. It's definitely not happening in SC though.
Oh yeah. Sure. I mean, yeah, Fortnite is definitely, they have these concerts. I mean, the Travis Scott concert was really cool, and you had to be there to be, to experience that. But I think in my top, going on forward with pay to win, Star Citizen pay to win, is it a game, is it a store? Yes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of pay to progress in certain areas, but Star Citizen's a little bit of a unique game in certain ways. Like some top level of progression is maybe just buying a really cool apartment and just living there by themselves and getting some furniture. Or, and Mike's, top level would probably be having a really big base, pumping out tons of resources. Everybody's end game progression is different, and it definitely does matter of the size of the group that you play with. Some people like having the small ships, some people like having the big ships, right? So it's a bit of a unique case with Star Citizen, and it's not an easy answer to say, really. But I think for me personally, if Billy Bob Bojangles with his 10 Idrises and his fleet is off in a large solar system with a lot of PvPers, is that going to affect me when I'm in a smaller solar system that he can't even jump to and as your ship? At least if that's going to still be the thing, according to some of the feedback of the jump gates. I mean, ship size might be a factor in this.
Yeah.
So maybe that might get to that point. We'll see. We don't know. But I think as long as I'm able, space is big, right? As long as like it doesn't affect me, I don't get to see, I don't interact with it. Will it affect me? Absolutely. I will run into these situations where I just get absolutely waffle stomped by, you know, these big groups, by big zergs. It happens with every game. But I think like
the difference with this game is they unfortunately allow, not only will those groups exist, but they'll also have the ability to buy their power as well. So you have the combination of players that both have time and money, and that's going to be the death of that's where the pay to win actually exists.
Which is why I think we've been I don't think anyone in the community hasn't been a proponent of making sure that whether it's through the crafting system or whether it's through the reputation system or something, that there is meaningful progression there that can, because you can't eliminate the pay to win, but you can certainly squash it quite a bit through in-game progression.
Hopefully.
And that doesn't exist, but that's where it needs to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, reputation, I hope that there's reputation rewards that you can only unlock when you do these, when you work with these organizations in the game, not being able to just buy money from CIG or a gold seller at eBay or whatever and be able to buy whatever the best upgrades or blueprints or, you know, whatnot, but being able to actually get these reputation rewards and actually earn them through these organizations that are in the game. And I think that's very important. But yeah, I mean, these events and, you know, the monetization model, Star Citizen is on the verge of a slippery slope. Hopefully they, you know, some people out there maybe don't want the ships to not be sold. I don't think they're ever going to stop selling ships.
Well, I mean, go look at the funding. Right, they made a bunch of money yesterday, so they're not going to stop this. And that's
just
problem.
Shy of 2 million. Just shy of 2 million.
So us talking about the ship means nothing in reality. It's just this is a coping session for some of us, I think, and that's it. But it's not going to change anything.
And then unfortunately, like it could, if they do stop it. I mean, let's just say that they do, right? Like what Pandora's box is only going to open from there, right? Like you might have to pay expansions to get access to certain solar systems, or me being able to, you know.
Oh, whoa! Let's not.
Don't give him ideas.
Fucking ideas. Just stop right there. I'm gonna hang up on you if you keep going.
Look, I will say just on the general thing that you're saying, my hope for Star Citizen is that we get to a point. It's not going to happen, but we get to a point where instead of selling ships, they are just selling cosmetics. And like it sounds ridiculous because how much money CIG have made from selling ships.
But how much?
Every other big game has done it. Every other big game has sold cosmetics.
You can sell a cosmetic base for
exactly.
the price of a ship. Okay?
Exactly.
And all it does is make your base look cool.
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's my hope.
Yeah. And I would like to see a subscription model for the game, but I mean, WoW has a sub model, and look what happened. You know, for a new player to come to WoW, you have to buy the game, pay the sub, buy 20 years worth of expansions, and you know, and then there's still pay to win on top of that with the WoW token. So it's very unfortunate. And you know, another point too is Destiny 2. Destiny 2, when it first came out, it wasn't greatest, but it was good. And then Forsaken, the first expansion came out, it was very free to play friendly, very, very player friendly. And then it went downhill when they broke off from that. You have to buy season pass for seasonal events and stuff like that to get seasonal rewards. Like it gets really, really bad when you go down. Like watch a video on this. As a Cross makes a great video on this about 6 months ago. It is scary. But with Star Citizen 1.0 going on to the letter, 1.0 for me, this is the new 4.0, the road to 4.0 carrot on the stick to me.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Well, I don't know if I would say it's carrot on the stick. It's literally a thing the company has to do, right?
They had
It
to do
is the
4.0
next.
too.
Yeah, but they don't have to frame it
Yeah,
like
for
this.
sure.
They don't have to
Yeah.
frame it the same way they framed it for the last 5-6 years. The
Sure,
road to some other
yeah.
bullshit, and yet we never we never got to the other roads yet. We're
Right,
we're
yeah.
we're on a roundabout, guys.
We're on the
not on a
detour.
road.
We're on the roundabout. The road had to be a deep. They had to strip away the road and repave it.
Come on, yeah, we're in
I love
traffic.
the term. I love the term. We're on the roundabout. That's absolutely fantastic.
We're in
But
fucking
yeah, I
traffic.
mean, you know, and I was suckered in when 2016 with the sandworm. You know, the roadmap then was like, oh, 4.0 after 3.6. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you know, like look what happened. Here we are, 323. But moving on with my next point, and this is the big point that I want to nail, is I come from both an MMO background, but also a FPS background. I've played every Battlefield, Call of Duty. The Finals is my new guilty pleasure. PlanetSide 2, Hell Let Loose. I played thousands of hours of FPS, both on PC and console. I love FPS games, you know, and you know, the glint angle, the range of all that scope glint. I love that. I see that. That's great counterplay for sniper counterplay in FPS games. There's a reason why every game has it, because it works. It's great.
Yeah, I was really
best-
surprised on like the backlash from a lot of the community of it. It
The
was
best
like
commentary-
haven't
Well,
you
they
played a
don't play
game?
games. That's why they. Yeah,
The
they
best
just talk about
commentary
them.
is Zach doesn't know anything about guns. He should come to Texas and learn about guns. That's what somebody said on Spectrum, and I
Wow.
because
Better
and it
come to
wasn't even
Texas.
a,
We'll show
it
them
wa-
out what this freedom works.
it wasn't even a joke. It was dead serious. And
Oh,
it's
man.
like, dude, guys, stop equating real life scenarios to a video game. It's not how it works. Real life doesn't have balance. Video games, they attempt to have balance. The point of real life is to be unbalanced. Like
No, Mike, I want my ICBM and my Mac 10 to be able to equally fight each other.
yeah, like it's so silly. So I am of the argument that like maybe Sniper Glint isn't the best choice. Maybe something like a scanning mechanic is, but it's the best choice for right now is their opinion and what they want to do. And when it comes in game, we will shit on it or we will love it, and they will adjust, and that'll be that. And I just praise the fact that somebody is trying something and somebody's trying to make the game better, because guess what happened in the last 5 years? It sat there and did nothing and has rotted. The game has been rotting, and every aspect of the game has been rotting except for the one that a few teams are specifically dedicated on, right? Now we have a number of developers, a number of teams dedicated to certain things and hopefully maintaining those things. And that's what appears like is happening there. So I feel like it's an overall positive. Whether you like Glint or not, we'll see what happens. They are open to fixing things. They're open to changing things. They're open to removing things. So shit on it when it's there. Be concerned about it being there if you want to, but just like,
And if you're
have fun,
you're
man.
scared about people being able to see you from your sniper glint, then don't miss. Get good.
Exactly. Yep. Get good. Don't miss. But here's another thing: is like I feel like CIG might be pushing back on the one hit kill headshots. I don't know if that's still the the thing or not.
They did talk. I can't remember if it was SCL. They talked about FPS this week, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
on
I
the
might have missed
SCL,
this part.
they said something specific of like, we do still want you to be able to like one tap heads. The only exception is like heavy helmets where it's a 2-tap, right?
And
So it is still a thing.
That's how the
I
current
think
game
you should
works.
bleed out.
That's how the current game works, and their response is a heavy armor. If you are injured, you are still a one tap headshot.
Yeah.
Because
So
you
it
have
sounds like
less
it's literally
health.
like it does 99% damage sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah.
That's good. I mean, I would like to see maybe you get a little bit of a bleed out, head trauma, you're bleeding out a little bit, and then you have to actually seek instant medical attention, otherwise you will go down. But yeah, I mean, that's something that they can definitely tweak with feedback. That's good. But the importance of that for me is network latency. This is an MMO. hundreds of players. There's a lot of
Yeah.
network environments that have to go into this. You know, this game is not going to have the best net code in the world for FPS gameplay. So it's very important that you are rewarded for when you land the shot.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the suggestions that you mentioned, a lot of that comes from like a potential medical change rather than necessarily an FPS change, where they could make that happen just with FPS balance, but we would need the additional medical
Exactly.
gameplay in order to do that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when you get, and then going on to medical gameplay, the knockdown, being able to crawl away, that's a good change.
Dude, I forgot to
would
put
like
that
be
in week in
able to
review. I'm so pissed. I actually totally forgot about it.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Like the
'cause
stuff about the new down states. Like
yeah, that's like one of the
they mentioned,
biggest
yeah.
changes. Yeah, and I just
Yep.
I fucking missed it.
I would like to see maybe like you would be able to self heal yourself. So let me back up on this real quick. Let me give it some context. With Battlefield, when you get downed, you go down, you have a medic revive you, right? But if you get downed again, you're dead. But if you are up and you're up around living fully healed, if you get downed again, you just go back down to a down state. It rewards the player for not dying over and over again. But if you die immediately, you are dead. You have to respawn. So with like the knockdown and being able to crawl away and self heal, I feel like you should be able to kind of heal yourself, because it's weird to be able to crawl away and not be able to heal yourself with a pen.
Before you continue, I just want to clarify. They never spoke about self-healing once. This is something that Cryptical wants. This is something I definitely mentioned that I thought might be interesting, but they never mentioned self-healing once, so it's not something that's coming to the game. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah, this is a
continue.
suggestion.
I'm sorry.
Yep. But yeah, this is something that I feel like that should be, something that you can do is self heal, because a lot of people do play solo.
Yeah,
there's a lot of solo players out there.
And
there's a lot of people that want to play
solo.
solo.
Big. Like having to wait for somebody is ridiculous.
You don't want to wait.
The incentive isn't there to wait.
Yeah, I mean, every time I go down in a bunker, I put out a medical beacon. They're on the other side of the solar system.
Yeah.
So for some reason, it always pings the player on the other side of the solar system. But it gets really frustrating when you have to waste your time as a player, and I don't like that very much. Laser weapons. Laser weapons, I feel like the backlash of the recoil is it's a give and take situation for me. I think with the way the game is currently right now, I think having the recoil mechanics for laser weapons is fine, but currently I feel like laser weapons are really just ballistic weapons, but worse. You can't shoot through shields. So if someone's shooting from inside their ship, like from the side bay doors of a cutlass, if you're fighting somebody with laser weapons, you don't have to worry about them. They're not going to get through your shields with size 0 hand weapons, right? So it just makes it so ballistic is still king in this game, unfortunately. I would for a future change later down the line. This is obviously like well into beta, maybe even past 1.0 if we even get that far. But I would like to see maybe tone down that recoil, but make it so they overheat. They have to recharge, right? They did. And I saw that, and I was like, I'm absolutely on board with that. And I understand that in the current state of the game right now, it ain't going to be there right now. That's later down the line. But and when I heard that, I was like, okay, good. They are aware that is definitely something that should be a thing with laser weapons. So I was, very, very, very interested in seeing what they go with that. But with binoculars, people want to have binoculars to be able to zoom in and not have glint when you have binoculars. We already have a visor.
On board. They seem to be on board with that.
Well, we already have the visor system that you can zoom in.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it is there. Yeah.
It does work. And I mean,
but
there's going to be updates with the visor system.
I don't agree with that unless it's with a specific helmet or something, because you should need to make a choice.
That's fair. That is fair.
Like everything about Star Citizen keeps being about choice, and if you should be able to
a sniper roll helmet.
Yeah, a sniper helmet or whatever, right? Like you should have the choice of there's a downside to this helmet, or there's a downside to this item that you bring because it's taking up a slot that could be replaced by something else, right? That's what we need in the game. Not just, well, just let me zoom in, because now you have a sniper who can zoom in, but you also have somebody else who can zoom in, and now we're at this weird place that doesn't make sense.
Well, with the zooming in with the scope, with the visor, you wouldn't be able to shoot. You're just
Obviously.
It's like a binocular effect.
Yeah, but,
I just want to make sure that's
No, it's clear. It would be a binocular, but I just think if we're going down the route of everything Star Citizen has been going down for the last couple of years, it would be a choice. So a choice would be an individual item or a helmet or whatever. It wouldn't be available to everybody, is what I mean.
I mean, and they want to do the rolls with the armors, right?
Exactly.
So make it a roll. You know, make it a roll. It's like, hey, this sniper, it's a light helmet. So if you get tapped in the head, you're dead too.
Yep.
But you have the ability to zoom in much further than any other helmet.
Yeah, they don't have a heavy version of it or something, right? That would be that's a good,
it could be the
good
drawback.
counter. Good counter. I would say bring it back maybe towards the topic or whatever, because we are touching on the FPS stuff a little bit today, but we don't have that much.
That's a big point of contention for me.
I understand.
That's fair.
It might be for another podcast, right?
Sure.
But
it's almost certainly one we'll do once 323 comes out and we get to
actually
feel what that is like.
Exactly, right? It's so hard to talk about something that isn't in the game yet. So I might want to put a pin in that one and save it for later with you. I think we'll bring you on for that one. But is there anything you want to talk about on like the topic or the other things that happened this week?
Maybe the character customizer, since that was the last ISC.
Okay.
I think it's
true.
great.
Oh my god, so much stuff happened this week.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to cover. I mean, but the character customizer is great. I really have no downsides, upsets with this at all. The only thing I see is a lack of a body customizer. You're just only customizing the head, and I don't know if that is something that is a limitation of the game, or if it's something that they can do later down the line. Like, where's my booba dong slider? All right, like, come on. But
where can I make my head like an inch wide and then my like shoulders all the way out to here, that sort of thing. I do think it is probably a limitation of just how they want to do like armor,
and they want to do
clothes,
tattoos and piercings and stuff like that. But what about the cybernetics? The cybernetics that they were doing concept of a long time ago. So maybe later down the line, the character customizer could be expanded upon beyond just the head and hair and the facial features. But I don't know.
I think the two best things was like the save feature, and then that a lot of people were like, damn, dude, they only have like a few types of hair and they don't have like everybody's kind of hair. And they added what they said would come later to 323 with like a lot more different hair types and beard types and things like that people were like, yo, CitizenCon, what the hell? It's just like one type of person. Now it seems to be a bunch of different people, so they can make their own character look like themselves.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a very solid variety for the first implementation. It's enough that it makes me want to actually like do character customization opposed to right now where I just default start play.
I'm going to have one attempt at making me and like 47 abominations that I'll choose from on a regular basis.
I'm getting chat to make me because we've now got the import feature. I'm gonna do a competition where everyone has to make me.
I'm gonna make a certain bald man from the internet that everybody hates right now. So,
Mike?
No, Mr. Gold, Mr. Gold, Asmongold.
Oh yeah, you gotta make Asmon. You gotta make Asmon in every character creator.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, post it on his subreddit. Let's see if he reacts to it. But those are all my points. Thank you for bringing me on. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you,
Thank you for coming on, man. And
you too. Cheers for coming on.
We'll save. I'll save a spot for you when we do FPS. I'll ping you.
All right.
All right. And we'll talk a lot more. All right. Check you later.
Cheers, Cryptic.
See you.
All right. I did just get the text, so it's kind of running low on time for me. So I have time for one more caller. So I know there's some people waiting in line. We'll bring them on. If they're very quick, we'll bring on two. Okay. So we'll let them know. But we got Von Bismarck coming up. Hello, Vaughn. I don't know if you heard that. But if you are quick, I'll bring on somebody else. But feel free. This is your time. I don't want to take away from it.
Oh no, I'll try to be as quick as I can. I know we talked before, and our last conversation we were talking about the road to Pyro, how it's so important, at least for me,
Mm-hmm.
to get back into the game. And hearing you
Mhm.
earlier about your talk, seeing how you're able to now to jump to Pyro server mission becoming more of a reality. I just think that a lot of people, I think it was a few callers ago, kind of said it was like a nothing burger, but I don't think
I think
I'm
Croncy
not gonna.
said it.
Yeah,
No,
and I
no, no.
don't think.
I don't think the server meshing is a nothing burger. I just think the 1.0 was a nothing burger.
Oh no,
Yeah,
that's for sure a nothing burger. I don't
yeah,
think because like 1.0 means what? I mean, we're at 3.26 223, so what does
yeah.
1.0 mean to me? It doesn't mean much, but technology wise, since working with the engine itself before, not their engine, Star engine, but working with the Cry engine before, just seeing what they're
Mhm.
able to do to me blows my mind in the sense of like, okay, Ivacati is able to test this, so that gives me an idea, time frame wise, for them to say, yeah, they can actually pull it off by the end of this
Yeah.
year. As long as like nothing really big comes around from marketing, I think they can. Just because that's like the biggest hump to get over. I think SaltEMike mentioned this too, also about how gameplay now is just temporarily. So once we get the actual mesh together with servers, we get up to 500 players. You're gonna have to rework all the mission types to make it more like an MMO. So I think end of this year, beginning of next year, is going to be a lot more an interesting game
Mhm.
from this year prior wise. It's just not going to be the same for sure.
I think we'll see them taking the steps to a more interesting game. That's for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, because like if you think about the biggest ships that need to be finished or haven't even been built yet, like the Polaris, the Icarus, all these things, like
Mm.
they need 500, 500 plus servers. Like you need 500 people on a server to have these big ships there.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know you need the mesh to work in in the layers, networking layers, to have at least a big enough battle where no one's frames are dropping below 10. So
Yeah.
without that back end, we're not going to see much. But until then, I feel like a lot of ships are postponed, because I remember you guys mentioned this to tap on the topic of ships too. Since that came up to this week, everyone's complaining about, even I was, about older ships not being made. And it's like, well, they can't really be made because there's no gameplay to them. There's nothing there for that, you know.
Oh, they do that
Yeah.
anyway,
I'm
though.
just
They don't care
yeah.
about
Like
that.
I will say though, when we have talked about that, of like, they need to go back to the backlog. I think the assumption there is that they will also make the gameplay with it, right? Like it sucks to it
You
sucks
know
to
what
not have your
happens when
ship.
you
It sucks
assume.
more to not have your ship and not gameplay.
Yep.
Dude, trust me, I've been holding on to that Polaris for so long. It's been irking me, but I hear you on that. But I have to like look back at what they're developing. I'm like, I can't not use the Polaris. Like they could bring it to me today, and I could fly it around solo and take like
Mhm.
the entire server with me. But what's the point? There's no engineering. There's nothing to go with it. Maybe the hangar's goofy, can't land on it. Everyone has 5 FPS because we have this massive SIP in the server.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense to me on those bigger ships. The smaller ships for sure. Like there's tons of like other ships on the back end that should be done by now. It doesn't make any sense for them to be waited on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Fair enough.
then to touch on the character creation from the last caller,
Mhm.
you're never gonna see custom height because CryEngine doesn't support that, and you're still using the same animation system. So
Really?
there'd be no custom height
Okay.
unless they change the entire animation system for the skeleton rigs. Then that's out of the gate. But you can
I
have
get to
more
be as tall
targets.
as everybody else for once in my life, baby. Let's go.
Yes. Yes. I could be 6 foot
Woo!
finally too, so it's amazing. But the other
Uh,
thing too is it does support morph blending, so there is no reason why you can't adjust body weight or
okay.
head sizes technically.
So no
Um,
height, but like other stuff should be
yeah,
possible. Okay.
yeah. Other stuff definitely should be possible unless there's something
Well,
artistically like they did.
metrics, yeah, metrics with the seats and stuff. It probably won't be.
Yeah,
Mm,
it just
Armor.
could be. No big
yeah.
boobas can have that because, how are you gonna fit into your ship, I guess, but
Yeah.
it can't be possible. The one thing that kind of bothers me though, in a sense, when I see the character creation and all the stuff they're doing with it, it's like, what about my ships though?
Yeah.
Mm,
That's the one thing that kind of irks me because, like, it's been on the I don't know how long of a back end. I don't probably SaltEMike knows how far. Both of you guys probably know how far in the back end has been talked about to be able to do custom paint jobs on our own ships, or at least
It was
design it.
certainly long before I got
Oh,
here, and
Yeah, it
and
was
oh
so
my,
like
it's been a while.
ask Comerl. He talks about it every week. He shows the same video every week of the hex code thing. I think it's like
Yep.
2016, something like that.
yeah, it's just like at first I'm thinking like, okay, maybe it's just because they want to sell skins, and that's a great way to keep, you know, moving forward in production to have money coming in, which I totally
Mhm.
understand working in the gaming industry. Like, yeah, there's things you have to do to keep yourself afloat. But at the same time, well, you have the character creation. You're showing all this beautiful effects of hair and all types of stuff, and they're like, all the ships look the same. All of our ships look the
Yep.
same. There's no difference between ships right now whatsoever, unless you get like I don't know, a skin for the year of the ship or whatever.
Mhm.
It's not fun in that sense, and I think a lot of players are kind of still upset about that. I mean, I am at least. Like, there's only a few ships you can even name, custom names and shit. I think it's what, the Hammerhead, and then can't forget the other
There's
one.
five. There's like five hulls that you can name. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I have
So
such
I
good
think
names of my ships as well.
That's what Mike does off stream. He streams, he reacts, he plays the game anytime he's off. He's like on the sides of his hockey game, just like, oh, this would be such a good name for a mole.
Yeah.
dude, I'm sure he's better at naming ships than children. He's like, oh well.
Well, I'm definitely not going to be naming any children, so that's good. I'm going to find the name of one of my ships. The first one that comes up, I'll let you know the name. I forgot what they are. I just know they're funny.
I will
Yeah.
say, as one thing I'm really disappointed about, all the ships I have, I don't have one nameable hull, and it actually is genuinely really disappointing.
Oh,
That
really?
was like 2.5 years ago, or like 3 years ago, they introduced that. Come on, let me name some other ships.
To be honest, I'm one of those. I got the Hammerhead just because you're able to name it. When they first introduced the name and ship
Yeah,
part, I was like, oh, I'm gonna grab the Hammerhead so I can name it.
yeah, yeah.
It never went beyond that.
They got
But
another
yeah,
one.
oh my goodness, yeah, right. But that's the thing. It's interesting to see what they've done this year. Like you said, you got to give them props when they deserve it. Like, marketing wise, I don't know what they're doing with the Hornet. It doesn't make any sense with me. Like, I'm still scratching my head about the whole thing. Was it a marketing decision first, or was it like someone from the gameplay just came out of his office and said had a great idea and marketing overheard it? Like, I
I
don't
don't
I
know.
don't get that. We have rules when we do things in our company for stuff like that, and it's I don't know. I just feel like they're strapping, what is it, pulling from the bootstraps and just figuring a way out when there's an actual way you can do it. I mean, there's plenty of games that done
Yeah.
it properly, and you
See, but that's the
it's
thing. It's
never
so
that.
it's so different to other games because the things that you're buying in other games tend to not have as much of an impact in the game, right? They're either cosmetic or it's something like a League of Legends hero or whatever, right? Where like they could be really powerful and whatnot, but they're not going to be as different in their gameplay style as everything else in the shop. So
Right,
it's in all of those instances, it is marketing first because they're just trying to sell skins. They're just trying to sell heroes.
Yeah.
Here they're trying to sell the gameplay, and so that's why we were saying before. It's like, well, yeah, is it a gameplay decision first? Is it a marketing decision first? I'm of the opinion it's gameplay first because it feels weird to dedicate that many resources to one sale, But yeah.
it might
Anyway,
seem weird, but I think they've done that once before. But I mean, like, a penny for your thought would be like this: think about how Star Citizen came to be. It was kickstarted first, all about ship
mhm,
selling, just to get money revenue to get them going.
yeah,
They built their company, overexpand a little bit, in my opinion. You don't really need that many studios, but by all means, go for it. And then what do you do next? Like, besides selling the base game, or your beta or alpha, pre-alpha version of the game, how do you keep revenue going? And I think
mm,
they're just stuck with the idea of selling ships just because of the way it came into fruition for them in the beginning. You
yeah,
know,
Just what they do.
it's
yeah.
It's easy. I think
yeah, it's what
it's
they do,
it's part of the daily it's just part of the process now.
and
They've normalized it. And
yes, that's exactly what I was going for. It's it's kind of our fault too, as like
my
people who.
Carrack is named Imagine.
Oh, there you go. And I think the community has to take a step back too and just reflect on ourselves on that, because we support it, right? So for us to be at the same time complaining, it's like not a well hypocrisy in a way.
Well, it's
Irony.
yeah, but that's a generalization. Like the people that are complaining aren't the ones buying the F8C,
No,
Right.
F7C. Sorry, and well, I'm sure there are some, but like
There was
it is distinct, different areas of the
there
community.
was an argument on Spectrum today, and I think it wasn't somebody memeing that people are coming out and wanting things for free, and they don't understand that CIG devs have mortgages and need to get paid. And it's
Mhm.
like, no, man, that's not what anybody here is saying. The people are
No.
just saying, I would like to play the game.
Right.
And I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
want to
want
have
CIG
to.
to not make money.
Yeah, but I
Like,
also don't want to
yeah.
have to go, yeah, I can't afford to buy that ship, or I don't want to buy that ship, or
Mm.
like, I just for once want to log into the game and have the one monitor that I'm on be the entire focus and not the second monitor with the store on it, you know?
No, I
Yeah.
agree with that. It kind of reminds me of like Warhammer 40K, like getting into that hobby, you know. Um, but with the
Yeah.
with the idea of them doing their ships, it's like, yeah,
Sorry, I
those
have to just quickly touch on that because that's a really funny analogy. Imagine if Star Citizen said all of your ships are completely null and void every 3 years.
that's with the
Anyway,
amount of changes they do. I feel like that's what it is. That's why I made that
I mean, they
analogy.
kind of do, yeah, when they balance and unbalance, like, you know, nerf and balance like certain ships. Some of the purchases you make like do become like less valuable, or you just don't
not
use
to
that
that
ship.
extent though.
Not maybe
Like
not to that
Warhammer is
extent.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, Warhammer is pretty on the extreme.
Maybe
spectrum
Magic
of
the
it.
Gathering then. You're playing like standard format and literally all of your cards in the standard format rotate out every 3 years and you
Oh
can't use
god.
them in that format, right? So that's yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's where I touch on that. It's just like,
Yeah.
you know, for instance, doing Rainbow Six Siege, we
Mhm.
have the season passes for that game, but that's a complete game already. That game's out, it's done. You know, there's not going to be any updates to bring it to a newer graphic fidelity, nothing like that. We're just gonna continue on the same path, make it you know competitive gameplay, all that.
So
fun
we're in
stuff.
copper.
So we're in copper, you know, below copper, if you ask me.
I don't know if
And I
anybody
think
gets that reference, but maybe there's a lot of boomers in this community, but maybe they got that reference.
oh, I'm sure like 2 people in chat might get it, but that's
Do you
where
not
it's
get it?
I do, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Just making sure. At
No, I
least I got
got
through
you.
somebody.
I work at that game. I gotta get it.
There you go. Oh, I didn't know you work for them. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
I
the
didn't
same
know
guy.
that.
Who,
Oh,
we
that's
talked
right.
before about that.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. My apologies. My memory, my
Uh,
memory, my memory.
Oh, no worries. But that's the thing where it's like, you know, they're breaking ground on newer technology, which is great.
Yeah.
Funding wise, it's just you know they just put themselves put themselves in that box, and we support them in that box. So it's kind of you know we're kind of stuck there until sure 1.0 comes out and they actually have a game they can present. And but that kind of puts me in a weird predicament because what do you think about ships in their LTIs? Like how does that like how are they going to handle that aspect of it?
I don't even
You
think
know?
they fully know yet because it's a really
They
it's
always argued
it's
it was irrelevant. That was their
yeah,
argument.
and
And then
it's
kept
got a
selling it.
basic idea. It's got a
Right?
really basic idea,
It's
but
irrelevant, but they
it
do push it.
changes it
Yeah,
changes as the
because
game
people are
continues to get features.
I mean, guess what else is irrelevant? Cosmetics.
Yeah.
Hey, my purple sniper rifle is very relevant to me,
Exactly.
so
To you.
It has less I heard it has less glint, the purple sniper rifle.
it
So
does. It does.
So I'll say that the call is coming to an end because we hit
Yeah.
my
Mhm.
time marker. But I will tell a quick story of I've told this before. When my first day backing, the day I bought my package was the day that LTI was no longer going to be sold to players, and that was in 2013. There was a
Oh
cutoff
yeah,
date
that's right.
of when it was going to no longer be sold. And then they realized how valuable it seemed to players and took advantage of it. That doesn't mean that it actually will be valuable in game. And they can absolutely just go, yeah, thanks for your money, idiot. We told you it was not anything the entire time. And if you're mad that you know, melted and did all these things to have every ship have LTI and bought all these little ships and CCU'd, yeah, that's on you. That's not on us. So we'll see what they end up doing for it. But that's
Yeah,
the
that or
I hope they shit on the players for that one a little bit because they were very clear that it was not going to be that
Yeah,
big
it's
of a
not a
deal,
huge deal.
and people
Yep.
did always make a big deal about it.
oh, I agree on that one. I just can't
Mhm.
wait to see the article on the the Better Business Bureau on it.
Yeah, of course, yeah, but yeah.
All right, well, thank you. I don't want to
All
take
right,
up much of your
Vaughn.
time though.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for your call and everything. It's just I never have early hockey games, and all of a sudden they're early now, which is super
Who
annoying.
plays
So,
hockey in Florida? Like that, I don't get.
That's why Mike plays.
Everybody
he can
from
be
the
a ringer.
Northeast who moved to Florida in the last 40 years, maybe those people. It's like super competitive hockey. I literally.
Oh,
play
what position do you play? My wife wants to know.
Defense.
Defense. Okay.
Yeah, I play against like literal ex-professional players, people just coming off of contracts and things like that. Like it is very competitive. It's wild.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah,
so you're gonna have a Canadian
very
accent.
I play with a lot of Canadians. Yes, I was on the Canadians. Like literally, we wore their jerseys because the whole team was from Montreal.
Yeah.
Tabernacle. I know that. I know one curse word. Tabernacle. That's it. So, yeah, I'm an honorary Canadian, I guess. But thank you, Vaughn, and we'll let you go, and we'll probably unfortunately say goodbye to the rest of the queue. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
guys.
It's on me.
Well,
no, it's not you. It's on me. This one's on me.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
Catch you later, Vaughn.
Cheers. Speaking on that quickly before we do our wrap up, I think it's important to note every episode we've had in the last month, we've had excess callers. So if you want to call,
get in early.
Make sure you get in early. Get in real early.
I would like to go longer, hopefully next week. I don't know what time the game is. Just timing of everything. Wife's coming home. We got to go to the store. All this crap today. Especially
with this Evocati test that's about to happen that you're going to miss. So
I will probably catch the very end of it, but I don't.
Right.
Though, like I've been talking, what they have done to me being in Evo is now I feel like I have to do the test to the best of my ability, cover everything, and report on it. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do that given all of the features in this test. So
yeah, fair.
Yeah,
it's thick.
Yep, and I won't have all the 4 hours to be able to do it, unfortunately. So, dang. But we didn't disagree that hard. I thought it was going to be a lot worse.
No, yeah, I didn't think we were going to disagree that hard. It was essentially a very small aspect of what we were talking about. I think it was very easy for both of us to agree that in general it's not great, and there are certainly better avenues. It was more just to the extent, and hopefully CRG in my opinion, continue to learn. In your opinion, learn finally to do this properly.
Yeah. Just do one thing without tying it completely to the game. It's okay to do something like Xenothreat and sell ships that will help players do better, with big quotes around help. This was it was so bad, man. You just literally needed to buy in. Wow. Yeah. I'm just so disappointed. I don't know what else to say with this. It's
well, I'm not. And if you enjoy the Answer the Call, make sure you like this video. And like Mike said earlier, subscribe. And we'll be back next week with another. Probably talking about the Evocati test. I imagine that's going to be the big thing. I think we get a roadmap this week as well.
Yep,
it has been 2 weeks. So, and the ISC this week is about the coming ISC is about the Freighter events.
It's probably the biggest ISC for me as far as the future that I'm looking forward to. So.
Yeah, so it should be another big deal. It's been. I wasn't prepared.
You were making it seem like it was the end, so I was like, oh shit, I need to grab.
I sort of am. It's just But yeah, thank you very much everyone for watching. And is Star Citizen a game or a store? Only you can decide.
We'll find out.
Spending money or not spending money.
I mean, we'll find out. But right now, it's hard to not say that it's very store focused and. Even though while they're talking a big game of how they're so game focused right now. Very interesting. So thanks for watching today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I didn't rant too hard, but I'm definitely feeling strong about this one. So we'll talk to you next week, but don't forget
to answer the call.